Kitzur ha'inyan. So the kitzur of the idea that we will discuss in this Mamer is ki kavonas ha'odo hakosuv. The pasuk's intention is lahazir es ha'odom, to warn the person, and v'liyas l'zikaron tamid le'inov, and he should always keep in mind, have it, always remember this in his eyes. Godel mailas kidushas mitzvahs maisiyos. The great advantage of the sanctity of doing mitzvahs in action. What we're doing when we're putting on the talis and the tzitzis, that will give you something to remember. So to know and to remember how great the sanctity of doing mitzvahs maisiyos. Shemahem nafsh nase levush makif l'nishmosai. From the mitzvahs maisiyos, that through them becomes a garment that surrounds his soul. V'shorsho u'mekoirei, where is the root and the source of this levush makif that comes to the neshama? Where does it come from? Is ma'or makif u'levush elyon. That is from the surrounding light and the supreme garment. That's where the light for the neshama who does mitzvahs maisiyos cause bring down. So all of Nemar, with regard to that garment, it says oita oir kasalmo. He wraps himself with light like a garment. So this uses the idea of the garment over there as that great light. And other pasuk in Daniel, it talks about the levushe kitlag chiver, that his garment is like snow white, basically also a garment. Mamer Razal, as the saying of our sages of blessed memory, Sha'HaKadosh Baruch Hu misate b'talus levana, that Hashem dresses up in a white garment. That's the tlag chiver that it speaks of over here. And that is the root, the source and the root of all the mitzvahs. Shemahem nase levush lenishmas ha'odom. From them becomes this garment to the soul of man, and that is the tlag chiver. Anikra chalukah de rabbanon. It's called like a chalukah, a shirt of the rabbanon. That's the garment. That's the garment that it comes from the level of Makif Elyon, the great Makif Elyon. Hine gedulas u'mailas levush zeu kedushosei. So when will a person recognize the greatness and the advantage of this garment? When you see the tzitzis. How is he going to do that? Shehein rak daled nimim nimshochim. There are only 4 threads that come. Those are the 4 me'aram oras levush zeh. From the shine of this levush, you only get 4 strands, the tzitzis. Umin daled nimin elu, and from these 4 threads, shehem beis chutei tcheles ubeis chutei lavan. These are the 2 tcheles and the 2 lavan. Nimshecha ha'oras dechila urechima lechabad shel Knesset Yisrael. That's, from there comes the hamshocha of the fear and the love to the chokhmah bina das of Knesset Yisrael, that people in their mind, they can create this fear and love of Hashem. Shehem kol haneshama shebi Yisrael. Those are all the souls of the Eden. V'unikra Torah Sa'odom, and that's called the Torah Sa'odom versus the levush ha'odom, because that becomes part of the person. The level. It's not like a garment which is over him. In that case, if just from the shine of this 4 nimim, we have such a great ha'orah. That's the fear and love of all Yidden from whenever the world was created. Where did they get their fear and love from? They got it from this madrega. Okay, so in that case, ma'otzma godla ma'oid milas kedusha salavush kula b'chvoido ba'atzma. So, how great is the garment itself if the talis produces only 4 nimin, and those 4 nimin become the tchilo rechimo, they become for all class forever. So we can imagine how great the talis itself is, because these are just that come from the talis. Okay, that comes from kiva mitzvahs. Talmud Torah, and same thing is with Talmud Torah b'fiv. And when he learns Torah, it's also considered Maisa. We're talking about mitzvahs Maisias, but also Torah, because Torah you have to move your lips. The lips is also called Maisa, the moving of the lips. And besides the fact, and also what does halachas talk about? They talk about also dvarim gashmi. Dvarim gashmi. Shalachein hein gufei Torah. That's why they are the gufei Torah. Gufei daike, loshon of gufei. Commercial Kosovo Rizal, as the Rizal writes, Shekudusha Satalis Godlam Alosam Ma'oid Al Kedusha Satzitzis. He says it's a very surprising concept. We know that the talis doesn't have really any remaining kedusha. You can use the talis; it's used for the tzitzis have kedusha in them. Like you're not allowed to be mitzvah; you have to put away the shemus. But the talis itself doesn't have the kedusha. But yet he's saying that Rizal says that the kedushas hatalis, the talis is godla malos b'm'oid ma'oid is much greater al kedushas hatzitzis, al the kedusha b'tzitzis. Shehem rak nimin ham shochim min ha'talis. The tzitzis are just come from the talis, and the talis itself, that's the level we're talking about, level of mitzvahs, maisis, and Torah, which is level of that's a greater kedusha. Rak, but this is the key. Shemipnei goydel milos kedushoso, because it's so great. Eina yichola lislabish v'talis hagashmi is mamish. It cannot dress up in the gashmi of the talis actually. Kimoi b'tzitzis, like b'tzitzis lochein ein b'talis hagashmi shum kedusha klal. That's why the physical talis has no kedusha. In other words, it's holier, but it doesn't dress up. It can't come down in the physical talis. That's why in the physical talis there's no kedusha. And you're allowed to use it weekly matters. Kosher tzitzis has more kedusha invested in the tzitzis. It's not such a great kedusha. It comes from the high places, but it's not as great as the level of the kedusha of the talis. So that's why the kedusha of the talis cannot dress itself up in the not dress up in the actual talis. The talis itself doesn't remain, but by tzitzis it dresses. All right.